What's up guys, and welcome back to another replay cast. Today's game is between Snow and Jaedong. We're on Metropolis. This game was played in August of 2025 and I think it's going to be a good one. So we're continuing to try and build up a little bit of a profile, rivalry, history between these two. I think when you think Snow versus Jaedong, it's not that like an immediate rivalry springs to mind if you compare it to like Jaedong versus Bisu or Jaedong versus Flash, or maybe like Snow versus, I don't actually know who's like a major rival. So probably Sulky I think would be like a big rival of Snow, someone that he's had a lot of run-ins with in history, and you know, probably on the balance of things one less often. We are doing a 9 pool. Oh my god, that is very, very interesting. You do not see a 9 pool from Jaedong very, very often, so that is going to be very spicy and interesting. This is just a standard one-on-one game, so I presume they were just practicing. We have no observers, but it is not... Snow doesn't ladder on this ID, and I think Jaedong doesn't ladder much on this ID either. So when I loaded the replay, I think it was set on melee, so I can't shift tab it. Oh, I can shift tab it. It could have been a ladder game. Actually, I didn't double check, but I think it's going to be a pretty good quality game regardless, and I'm looking forward to bringing it to you today. Just want to say thanks guys for all of the recent wave of support. Lots of new subscribers on the channel, lots of likes, engagements, comments. It's much appreciated. I've actually gone as far as creating a Discord server. It is brand new. We don't have a lot of members yet, but it is just a place for community and fans of the channel to come together, an opportunity for you to come to get to know me. And I also post all of the replays, well, recently. I haven't done it all along, but I've now, every single replay that I am like casting, including the one that you're watching today, will be available in the Discord for you to download. So I'm trying to build up a decent replay library. I've also activated channel memberships, and one of the benefits, for example, is you can actually request replay packs between certain players from me, and I will happily look them up for you, download them, and give them to you. Alright, and if you don't want to do any of that crap, you don't want to get to know me, you don't want to come hang out on Discord, you can just hit a like on the video and subscribe, and that will make me equally as happy. I've said it many times, I do this for fun, and that will genuinely never ever change. I'm trying to keep this going in spite of all of the other commitments and things I'm doing where I actually do make money. This is something that I do for fun and for passion. It's really good. So that's it. Plugs and slugs are done because Jaedong is Ling harassing Snow, and Snow is facing the eternal challenge that is the gateway, forward gateway expand opening for Protosses, in my opinion, which is you get this painful harassment from Zerg, and it is... especially if Zerg is good with Lings and gets quick Ling speed, which is what Jaedong did. And also, I think one of the most painful things to face with this opening is a 9 pool. So I think Snow has dealt with this pretty well. Jaedong's got to obviously now recover from the economic deficit that this opening creates for him. I like that Snow is going core before forge. So feeling very comfortable that it's unlikely, unless Jaedong's going all in, it's unlikely that he's going to be putting any pressure here. This is a lovely optimization from Snow. I've said it a number of times on the channel, and I will say it once more. Flash thinks that Snow has got a number of building optimization weaknesses in PvZ. Issues that are not exposed as often in his PvP and PvT because of his Reaver micro and how he's able to use that to kind of compensate for them. But one of the reasons why he believes he struggles against people like Soma and Sulky, perhaps even Jaedong a little bit, is those optimizations. So we'll see to what extent that is a factor in today's game. Obviously, at time of recording, it is the 2nd of May today. So ASL is still ongoing, and Snow at the moment is still in it. So if he does run into good Zergs along the way, let's see. I think if people are placing bets, they're probably going to bet against Snow if he's ever playing against a good Zerg, and they're probably going to bet in favor of Snow if he's ever playing against a good Terran, including Flash, which... the result of that probably would already happen by the time you watch this. Viewers have requested that I stop speculating and talking so much about ASL, so I'm just going to focus on this, which is a lot of link pressure. Holy crap, Anoli. This is insane, but the wall is real. This is like the wall of Gondor, or like, what was that? Helm's Deep, right? The battle for Helm's Deep has commenced, and Snow has held firm. Wow, that was a lot of Ling pressure. I think Snow would have had his heart in his mouth there for a while. But he's held it pretty well. I wonder if he has a gateway in his main. He doesn't. So it's one of those ridiculous scenarios where he's making Corsairs, but he can literally make nothing else. Taking his second gas. So you kind of improvise, get +1, find ways to spend your money, queue up a few extra workers, and I think he's going to go Citadel pretty soon. I think he could make Citadel already because he's got the Cybernetics core, but we will see. He is going +1 air, so we're going to see Snow play with Corsairs. He does get mixed bag results with this style of play, but I think based on the fact that he's seen Speedlings, he knows it's very likely that Jaedong has gone Lair. Of course, as I'm saying that, he hasn't. He's gone Hydra, so he's done he's done pretty much everything Jaedong almost never does. So that's kind of funny. And it's not just a Jaedong thing, like it's a good Zergs thing. Like good Zergs don't go 9 pool. Good Zergs don't follow up with like Hydra rushes. It's just a style of play that doesn't actually scale or do that well against good players. But I suppose anything in Jaedong's hands will probably work to some extent, right? So that's what that's what I'm kind of waiting to see what goes down here. I can feel that I probably need to cough. So if you hear me cough or go silent quickly, that's what that is. All right, so the Hydras have arrived. Snow would have been quite late to scout this, and his build against Hydras is pretty suboptimal, right? So he's got the extra gas. He's got all this gas he can't spend. What is he making in the production tab? I don't want to get away from this Hydra push, so we'll keep an eye on this. He's making +1 ground, 2 gateways. I don't even know if he has a Citadel. I think these cannons are going to be able to hold. So Jaedong is applying all this pressure off of 23 drones. Snow's doing pretty good to hold firm. Does also have a Citadel. He really does need a Templar Archives. With all this gas, you cannot not go Templars. You've just kind of committed yourself to get the gas-heavy units onto the field, get Storm, and force Jaedong to macro. Because right now, if we look at the production tab, okay, so Jaedong is actually macroing. He's deciding he's probably not going to be able to win this game with this push. So he is making drones. And perhaps he's just going to set up a soft contain, or we'll see what he decides to do. And I expect he may have a Corsair. He does. So Snow's got a Corsair, saw that he made drones, and we saw he actually cancelled one of his cannons. So he's got a lot of comfort that he's going to hold what is basically 9-10 Hydras. He's going to lose his gateway, but he's got 2 in his main, so that's fine. Losing the Cybernetics core is a bit painful though, because now you've got to remake that so that you can make Dragoons and get range. So Snow's build has been horribly disrupted by a pretty aggro Jaedong, to be honest. He's kind of played an aggro build from day one. So the Templar Archives arrives, as does Storm. Now we're getting Zed at legs. So I think Snow will get to the point now where he can start to spend his gas and kind of rebalance out his build. He's got plenty of workers, so I expect he will be able to saturate a third. And I expect that Jaedong's idea is just try and delay and deny the third base expansion of the Protoss as much as what he can. Still poking around here a bit of the Corsair to see what he can see. Jaedong decides to go home. Lair on the way, Spire on the way. So I was saying in an earlier game, it was Soma versus Best. I've done a batch of recordings today. And I was saying in that game that the mid-game strategy of Zergs to make about sort of 10 meters to pick off High Templars as Protosses are powering up. I thought that was going to become a somewhat embedded standard part of the meta, but it hasn't actually materialized like that. So it's now one of those situations that it happens every now and again, but not nearly as often as what you would expect. We're just picking off a... So Snow's just poking around here with some Zealots, but this is pretty well defended and fortified by Jaedong. Just want to get a gateway count here quickly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Didn't actually remake his gate in the natural, so 8 gates, which is pretty standard. Picking up another overlord, just being annoying. 44 drones, so predominantly workers, but he's going to have more than enough hydras to deal with these zealots. Even with +1 and no upgrades, I still just think on numbers alone he should be fine. Although getting pretty decent number of trades, but here come the reinforcements, so that's going to be that. DT's arrived, and Overlord spots him, and he gets picked off. Daryl the Dark Templar, not able to get too much damage. I love this from Snow. Anytime you can get your third base up around 10 minutes as Protoss, you are in a very, very solid position. I'm looking for his Robo. There it is. So he's got his timing and his Robo very solid as well. That's your only real challenge for you now, is if Jaedong has gone Lurker, which we can see he hasn't. You're going to be in a spot of bother without observers. That being said, we stopped making Corsairs quite a while ago. And yes, we are making Dragoons, and in sizable numbers, Dragoons can do okay against Mutalisks, but in small numbers, Dragoons suck against Mutalisks, right? And against air units in general. So I'm very curious to see what Jaedong can get done with his mutas, and when he reveals them. What is this drone doing? He's just kind of making space. Okay, so we want to put some pressure on. We want to be a nuisance. We want to be a pain. A couple of zealots running around here, just probably confirming that Jaedong hasn't expanded. You want to try and keep the expansion patterns of your Zerg under control as much as possible. That is annoying that he's picked off that drone, but it is a handy little pick-off. He is now going to show his mutas. And if there's anything I've learned covering a whole heap of Jaedong games recently, his Mutalisk Micro is really good. That was 2 Whiffed Storms, nicely 3 Whiffed Storms. So he's baited these storms out. He did actually hit that one. Got about 30 hit points on every muta. No, I'd lie. He got it on 1 muta. All the rest are healthy, yeah? Let's confirm. Yes. No, okay, got about 30 hit points. 1 got slightly more. It's a really, really prime. That decent number of hit points there again. I was going to say before the storm there, nice pick off on that High Templar. This terrain is really optimal for Mutalisk harassment and just worker harassment in general. So this is going to be really painful for Snow to have to get up around and defend, but he's done so nicely. So Jaedong is ahead in supply. If you're a Snow fan, you're really hoping that the Stark Archon can do some magic and thin the numbers. So we've got +1 on our Hydras. We've got 1-1 on our ground units. Decent Storm. This one's prime for Storm, and he's just absolutely scorched him there. So supplies do get a bit closer, but there's just a lot of Jaedong here. Have a look at this. Just the red parade. Very, very scary stuff. I don't know if he's going to hold here. Obviously, storms are going to be a big part of it. Nice, decent save. But look at the number of carcasses here. He needs some storms there to thin the numbers. Dragoons are not going to trade. Where are the storms? Here they come. This is another optimal storm opportunity if you can get it. Unfortunately, didn't have any energy available. Has made an Archon out of this. Jaedong really putting pressure on. Another storm does finally arrive. Decent dodging. Is he going to Maelstrom? Is he going to lose this Dark Archon before he can do anything with him? Does have 100 energy, which I think is fine for Maelstrom. I know what he's going to kill them with, though. So some reinforcing Dragoons to arrive. Snowflading a little bit of money as he's under heaps and heaps and heaps of pressure. 6 Dragoons and a Dark Archon. Sounds like a weird setup for a pub joke. Oh, he does. Maelstrom a few here, and I was going to kill him with probes. Let's go. Oh no, no! They've not done the job. So some reinforcing High Templars from the top side have come in. This game is turning into an absolute scrap fest. Workers holding the line. The dedication is real. This is insane. Dark Archon looks like he's gonna make it. Loses his Nexus and his Natural. Oh my gosh. Jaedong just applies so much pressure. The one thing I will say about Snow is... Ah, he does lose the Dark Archon. How sad. In spite of facing a whole heap of aggro Jaedong here. He does seem to maintain his composure relatively well. +2 now on the Hydras. 2-1 on our... is it? No, he's prioritized armor over upgrades. It's 1-2 on the Protoss ground units, interestingly enough. Daryl, the Dark Templar, seems to want to get some action. Still hasn't got a kill under his name. A couple of free overlords here as well. So 79 plays 61. It's about as scrappy can be, and has been kind of from the outset here. So Snow moving around, just trying to get a little bit of a map presence and give himself an opportunity to breathe. He's re-establishing his Natural. Doesn't seem to have aspirations to take a third right now. Obviously, once you've copped a whole bunch of damage like that, I beg your pardon, a fourth, not a third. Once you've copped that damage, you just kind of want to stabilize and re-establish everything, which is what he's doing. Transfer workers here. Lots of Hydras defending this. There is also an Overlord in position. However, if these Dragoons target down this Overlord and this DT comes through, this could be painful. There are a couple of Overlords here, but this could be... never mind. So Jaedong, sensing that Snow's entire army is out of position, he's going to try and pressure his third base location here. There's not a High Templar defending anything. We see one come through now. He needs to storm here. Kind of gets a somewhat decent storm off. Nothing amazing, nothing bad. Got one Hydra left. So he's going to hold true and trying to set up a fourth here behind this. And now once again the mutas are back. Oh my god, the Pendulum and the dynamics here have just been crazy. Archons will do pretty well against the mutas, but of course the space to actually get to the mutas is the challenge. Picks off another Overlord. Will Jaedong now go and pressure the fourth base location? That's where I sense it needs to happen. Oh, these workers were transferred a little prematurely. They might just get caught in the crossfire there. Again, more mutas coming in. And he's going to pick up some free probes here if he's got the appetite for it. We may just go straight for this unprotected base. Snow Zealots are running after these mutas. I don't know why, if it's just moral support. Fire! Shoot up! Throw your swords at them! Do something! He's actually split these mutas up. Oh my god, look at this. The split assault from Jaedong is insane. So he's got this part here, and Snow is just being run around from pillar to post. This is insanely good to watch. Also, it says established down here, so he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 bases. And Snow, you could say he's got 4 bases, but does he? Like, good storms on these, but he's going to pick off that High Templar, turning into an Archon. Eventually? Like, eventually? Yeah, he's going to arrive with 1 hit point left on him. Alright, so into the main we fly. Jeez, where was that High Templar that threw that storm? I killed him. Okay, obviously. What an insane game from Jaedong. Another dead High Templar. I don't know why you've flown in here, buddy, but that's going to be the end of you. Lonely Muta over there is a bit bruised, recharging. So Hydra's done yet. He has not made a lurker in this game, by the way, which is kind of fun. Who needs lurkers? Lurkers are silly. Uh-oh. So Jaedong is powering up here. Lovely storm dodge. Oh, not such a good storm dodge there, but he's going to take down these High Templars. Remember when I said it's going to be mainstream meta to pick off High Templars with mutas, and it never ever happens? Because I said that, it's now happening. Like, all game, which is awesome. More Hydras coming through. I don't know how Snow holds this. 101 plays 120. I feel like this has been a somewhat dominant performance from Jaedong from beginning to end here. He's just sort of outplayed Snow in all facets of the game. This base I think is going to go down. Sorry, slag in my throat. And this base has got one High Templar at it. Snow's army, of what's left of it, is moving out into the middle of the map. So this base is done, and therefore I think so is Snow's game. It's just a matter of Jaedong hitting the kill stroke. So he's massing up some Hydras here. Some potential good storms could thin the numbers a bit. Nice dodging from Jaedong. That's a lovely arc here, but that's good storms. Thinning the numbers from both sides here. Really, really good storms. Snow's still behind on supply, but at least fighting valiantly, and that was a pretty damn solid trade. No arguments there at all. Very nicely done. Let's have an Overlord observing long distance mining happening here. The DT, very, very like dramatic sound when a DT dies, isn't it? The end of the world as we know it, and I feel fine. Those probes are going to be over. Oh, you just flew right over them. Never mind, you're okay. So Snow trying to pressure whatever he can pressure. But Jaedong just has superior numbers, which obviously you and I can see. But Snow doesn't know until he knows, you know. Nice prime storm target here, but our High Templar has got one storm left. Enough energy for one storm. So he's picking up some drones here. Has sent some Hydras in there to tidy that up. And I think it is just a matter of time for our friend Jaedong to finish off Snow once and for all. Have a nice storm. Oh! Again, good dodging. The storms look so flush, and yet they're still able to respond in time. I think a flank here will work pretty well. And as soon as Snow runs out of storms, I think Flash will corner his units. Flash. As soon as Snow runs out of storms, Jaedong will corner his units and should have enough to finish him off. Seems to have storms for days though. Where did you buy these bottomless storms, Mr. Snow? So no money coming in here. Only this base still up and running. And heaps of reinforcements coming in. Still taking the time to micro and actually damage and dodge the storms, minimizing the damage. But now it's got Archons, it's got Dragoons, it's got Zealots. One High Templar coming out of the rally does get the job done. Another storm connected to this one, but now he's out of storms. So now the reinforcing Hydras are going to come in and the numbers are just going to be superior. And that is going to be the end of that. That was a very comprehensive win, guys. So there is a possibility at the time that I'm recording this, because it's the 2nd of May, that one of the matches for the round of 4 could be Jaedong against Snow. If that is the case, based on today's game and a couple of other games that I've done between these two, it's going to be a good match. But wow, it would be a brave one to bet against Jaedong if he does come up against Snow. I think it's going to be fun. It doesn't matter. I mean, whatever happens, ASL 21 has been hype. Whenever you've watched this game was hype. I really, really hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, guys. And I will see you tomorrow. Until then, you take it easy. Bye!